What are the best machines to get when you're opening up a studio? I have these conversations a lot with people who are interested in opening up either a garage studio or a basement home gym, start their business. Even if you're leasing space, what do you want to start with? People love to have something to talk about at dinner with their friends. So you're out at dinner with how are you? Oh my God, my trainer Lawrence, well, he did this new program that we're doing and I feel it and it's good. They just love to talk. So give them something to talk about.
Lawrence Neal here, and welcome back to High Intensity Business, your one-stop shop for growing your hit business and fueling your passion for high-intensity training. Today, we welcome back million-dollar trainer Pete Cerqua. Pete built a personal strength training business doing $1.2 million in revenue per year and is now helping others do the same. Today, we're going to be talking about the big six combination that will make millions of dollars for you starting your strength training business. Pete, welcome back to the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me, Lawrence. I enjoyed being here.
Awesome. Great to see you again. And I'm really excited. I saw you sent me over notes prior to today's podcast and I took one look at those and got really excited. I've even drawn a love heart on my notes, Pete. And so I'm excited to get into this one. So why don't you just kick us off?
I want to bring people along, just starting with what are the best machines to get when you're opening up a studio. I have these conversations a lot with people who are interested in opening up either a garage studio, which we've talked about many times now, or a basement home gym, and start their business. Even if you're leasing space, what do you want to start with? So the four best machines that I would recommend anybody start with, no matter what your circumstances are a low back, leg press, pull down, and chest press. Those are my core four machines. With that program, you could really do so much in such a little amount of space. So first of all, you only need about 200 square feet of space to spread these machines out and have an adequate amount of room to work with. And then with these four machines, you could add a bench, just a freestanding bench, and a dumbbell block, or maybe a single cable unit, and you can have 10 or 20 more exercises. But this is the most cost-effective way to get a program going. So you're talking about minimal dollars. If you're getting used equipment like Nautilus Nitro, these four machines are going to run you somewhere between $700 and $1,000 a piece. So for well under $5,000, you have opened up a business.
And does that 5,000 include the bench, dumbbells, and the single cable unit? Sorry?
It very well can. It very well can. So, yeah,
certainly under 10. Mm-hmm.
Lawrence, you and I have a friend that purchased some Nautilus Nitro machines, and I know for a fact that he spent $700 per machine. So in this scenario, that would be $2,800. I know the dumbbell block and bench are about $500 new. You could probably find them used on Facebook Marketplace for maybe half of that. But even at $500, we're at $3,300 and we're open for business. Now, if you put a few $100s on for paint and, flooring or something like that, just to decorate the space, it's well under $5,000. You're open.
Yeah. I was going to say, one of the things I had written down is what if clients want more? And I don't think you're suggesting that most people buy those four machines and then base their workouts around those. You're saying you really need a bench, dumbbells, and a single cable unit. Well, single cable unit is probably optional, but at the very least, four machines, a bench and some dumbbells would be an ideal start, just in terms of number of exercises, variety, etc.
Yeah, I actually used in one of my first programs 20 some years ago, I actually used a single cable unit. I was able to do my bicep, tricep. I even did a cable squat for people who are very new to leg exercises. It was more than that. It was a lot of fun. So it was very useful. But yeah, this is just a great way to start. You'll have 10, 20, 30 exercises out of this combination, whether it's dumbbells or a cable.
Yeah.
And it's inexpensive. You're open.
And so just for clarity, and this is my ignorance, single cable unit is different to a functional trainer where you have two cable units. Is that correct?
Yes. Yes. So functional trainers are relatively new, and maybe they're around for 20 years now, but
Okay.
they're more popular in the last 10 years. That's the single cable unit with the two handles coming off that you can adjust. I'm thinking of the more traditional cable. Mine is just a double pulley system to a stack, and it's adjustable in height. It's the basic single cable unit that you would find in a gym.
Got it. All right. So we're moving on to, when do you add more machines?
When you open up your business and and you're starting with a very core program, which I recommend, even if you have the money to start bigger, I recommend that you start smaller because you can generate so many more clients and so much more interest every time you add one new machine. So for me personally, when I reach a session goal or a financial goal, I'll then add a machine to the program
Can
and
we,
start.
before you get into adding machines, which by the way is the one I had a little love heart around, because honestly, I think this is genius. This is one of those things that's so obvious. And it's like, well, obviously that's how you should do it. Right. But I don't think like that because I always think too complex. You know me, Pete. I don't always think like the simple solution to things. So I just want to ask you about goals. Hormozy is kind of popular for saying he likes to double and triple. Like that's how he thinks. Okay, if you're at 10 grand a month, you want to go to 20 grand a month, right? Like that's how he thinks. I quite like that as an idea, maybe because that's, I don't know, more realistic than like 10xing in a short amount of time or whatever. I'm curious how you thought about goals. So when you were growing and you were setting like session goals or income goals, like maybe you give us examples like exactly what you wanted to make and like how you kind of went about actually that goal setting process, because people struggle with that.
I had very specific goals, Lawrence, very, very specific goals from day one. And I'll tell you the exact numbers. And everybody at the time, anytime I shared my goals with fellow trainers, they looked at me like I was crazy. This is never going to happen. But my first goal was obviously $1,000 a week. This is back in 1988 to 90. And $1,000 a week or $50,000 a year was a decent amount of money. I could be in business for myself and I can live, I can eat, I can pay rent.
Probably like a 100K in today's money, like a
Probably.
150.
Yeah.
Yeah, something like
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
And that would be goal number two for me was $2,000 a week or breaking the 6-figure barrier, so to speak. That was big. So 1,000 a week, $2,000 a week. From $2,000 a week, my next big goal was $5,000 a week. And then it just went up in $5,000 per week multiples from there. So 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, and 30. Those were my goals. Those were exactly my goal. I never went to $35,000 a week as a goal.
Yeah.
I think I even hit it once, but it wasn't a goal. But yeah, those were my goals.
So how did you then go about doing that? Okay, so you're at $1,000 a week. You want to go to $2,000 a week. Do you say, okay, do you write it down on a vision board? Do you say, I'm going to have, you have it down on a piece of paper and you put like a time frame on it? I love the details of this stuff. Or was it just like, you know what, I'm going to double this and that's just all I'm focused on. And that's how you thought about it. You didn't put a time frame against it or anything.
I'm one of the few that believe that if you don't write it down, it won't happen. So yeah, and I would use a Sharpie. It had to be written down somewhere, and usually in my journal or my. I didn't do vision boards back then, but I
Right.
always kept spreadsheets and books, and in my spreadsheets for sure, my goal sessions.
But you wouldn't
It was
have it
written
on your
down.
schedule that your clients might see.
Exactly. Yeah, I wouldn't. I actually did one time write it down and then realized, you know what? I don't want anybody seeing this. I have to put it
Yeah.
somewhere else.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. Interesting. And sorry, did you have a time frame against it as well? Like when you were looking to achieve these milestones?
I wouldn't write down a time frame. I want to get it done as quickly as possible. Uh, I'm very 90-day oriented. I always had these 90-day goals. And I never looked at it as 3 months. I always looked at it as 90 days. I would plot out my 90-day plans, so to speak, and starting on January 1st. So every year, I knew the first 90 days of the year were going to be the biggest for me and for all trainers, really, because you got January, you got the New Year's resolutions, the holidays are over. This is where you're going to make your biggest impact. So the 90 days prior, I was spending planning. So October, November, December were big planning months for me. What am I going to do in January? I'm going to definitely start my whisper campaign in December, which is, hey, I got a new piece of equipment coming in. When you get back from Christmas vacation, the new piece will be here. Oh my God, it's going to be great. It's going to be in your routine. And I'm just talking, and I won't tell them what the piece is. What is it, Pete? I'm going to surprise you with it. You're going to love it. Get that whisper campaign going, get that buzz going. And then when January hits, I've got 90 days now to reach my goals and double my income or make my increase or get the number of clients that I'm looking for. But I was prepping for it the 90 days before that, which is more important than the actual 90. So the prep work is you can't overlook this. You got to get that whisper campaign going.
Interesting. So that's what we're going to talk about next. And I will just say at this point, if you're interested in working with Pete, you should definitely join our free school community, school.com/HIB. And that's high intensity business. There'll be links around wherever you're watching this, probably be a link on the screen. So if you want to work with Pete, please join that community. You'll also get access to free courses, calls, and community as well. So Pete, let's get into this, how you utilize adding machines to kind of drive up excitement, right? You've talked about already whisper, tease, shout is the kind of the way they talk about it in the industry, right? In terms of whenever you're looking to promote something. So tell us more about like tactically how you did that, like step by step.
If I purchased machines, I would only add to my studio one machine at a time. If I purchased two or three, I would put them in storage, or if I had room in my home or garage or somewhere to stash them, and I would only bring out one at a time during that 90-day cycle. If I reached my income and financial goals at the end of that, I would start a whisper campaign for the next 90 days and then bring the next machine in. Sometimes this wouldn't happen, but annually. It didn't happen on a regular basis. I had to reach my goals, and I wouldn't bring in a new machine until I reached my goals. So don't dump all the equipment on and don't play your whole hand out right away. So like to bring in, okay, I got 3 new machines and throw those in, right? And really shake up your program. That would be like, you really just, played out the whole hand. And if it didn't work out to your liking, what are you going to do? Get 3 more machines now? So I really try to, it's the smallest increment possible to get the maximum benefit.
Yeah. And the thing is, you weren't a big proponent of technology in terms of like email lists and this kind of thing. So when you were whispering, was it all in person? Was it over text message? How were you like communicating this to people?
Always in person. Yeah. No technology, no websites, no text messages, no cell phone calls,
Right.
no emails, one-on-one.
How can you give us a demo, like how you would say it? Like client comes in, how does it go?
Lawrence, I got your workout all set up today. It's going to be a great session, but let me tell you something. In a couple of weeks, I've got this new piece of equipment coming in that's going to shake up your routine a little bit. And it's going to target some of the muscles you were asking me about. I'm not going to tell you what it is. I'm going to surprise you, but you just better get ready for this. It's going to be awesome. And that's it. Then I shut up. I want to deliver something in 10 to 15 seconds at the most, by the way. Then I want to shut up and I want to get to work. And what's going to happen there is if you did it effectively, they're going, whoa, what'd you, Pete? So what's the machine? No, not telling you. It's going to be a surprise. It's going to be awesome. I promise it's going to be awesome. Then shut up again, get to work.
Yeah.
Right? If you explain it for an hour, the thrill is over.
Yeah.
And you lost them. Create a buzz.
I love it. I just never thought about this before in terms of like, okay, you're going to get a whole bunch more equipment in. Why not drip feed it one at a time and use it as an opportunity to generate excitement, get clients excited? Because there's, I guess this applies to any business, but in like the online space, having something coming is a great way to retain clients, right? And I'm sure it works the same way in the fitness space, right? It's like if we've got something coming, it's like another reason. Obviously, there's lots of reasons why people keep training, but it's always good to have more of those reasons to improve retention. But also you said it also helped generate referrals. So what people would get excited about it and then start telling people about it, or give them like a talking point,
It's
like a
exactly
talk
that. It's
trigger.
exactly
Yeah.
yeah, it's exactly that simple. And people are so close-minded to this. And let me tell you how close-minded. You know, I find trainers that are so locked into their program and so locked into their exercise order that they can't see the opportunity of just if you just rearrange the equipment in your space. So you don't spend a penny. It's a little, labor one
Yeah.
weekend where you're sliding machines around, but just and then you create a whisper campaign before that, or when you come in next week, you're going to see something different. You don't say what. Now they walk in and they're off balance and well, hey, where's the leg press? Over there. Why? Because we're working in a different order this week. It's going to be fantastic. Wait till you try this. You didn't change your program at all. You just shook up the facility a little bit. It creates a buzz. Now, what happens when people love to have something to talk about at dinner with their friends? So you're out at dinner with how are you? Oh my God, my trainer Lawrence, well, he did this new program that we're doing and I feel it and it's good. They just love to talk. So give them something to talk about.
That's an interesting point, actually. It's like, obviously, when we change programs, most of us have soreness because soreness can just come from like novelty, right? Like a new stimulus, doesn't matter what it is. And, despite all of the science saying otherwise, people still associate that soreness with it being productive, right? And that's another talk trigger, which is something I hadn't really thought about for a while. Like you say, they're going to say how sore they feel after a new program. Um, I love that story you tell. I think you told it on a mastermind in the community where you said you moved down the street, you moved all your machines, you didn't change anything. Everyone kept coming in saying, "Hey, Pete, you've got new machines." And you kept saying, "No, no, no, same machines." And eventually we're like, "Yeah, no, it's just new machines." You were just sick of people saying it. You were like, "Yeah, yeah, fine, it's new."
I don't lie. I don't lie to people. I don't like to,
Of
mislead
course.
anybody. But at some point in time, I just got tired of re-explaining that these are the exact same machines you used on Friday at the old location. They're just in a new location with different walls and a different view. But yeah, everybody, you got brand new equipment, and I learned something from that. There's something I generated a lot of money that week. You got to see Pete's new place, and he got new equipment. Oh my God. Now, why would they just not refer me and my program and my training? Well, they have. People just need something new to talk about, and you'll generate more referrals that way. It can't just be the same message all the time. It's only good for the first round. Every round, you need something a little bit different, something new, something to talk about. It's
Yeah.
really that easy.
And just for everyone's, just for clarity, the whisper T shout method, although Pete might not say, it does also work really well over technology as well. And so it could be accompanied with emails and text messages and be very, very effective also. All right, let's talk about the next machines you would add and in what order.
So low back leg press, pull down chest press are my core four, so to speak, that I did start with. And what machines would I add in next? Now, at this point, I had all MedX machines, but any name brand is going to work. The machines I would add in this order would be abdominal, rotary torso, row, dip, neck, abduction, seated leg curl, shoulder press, lateral, bicep, and tricep. So those are the machines that I did add in that order. So if I have low back leg press, pull down chest press, and I'm going to purchase the next machine, it's going to be an abdominal, and I'm going to put it in the sequence that I work. I always work from low to high, so it would be low back leg press, abdominal, pull down chest press would be now my next order, my 5 machine order. If it's rotary torso is my next purchase, it's going in after the abdominal. If I purchase a row, it's going to go down. It's going to go into the routine. So I won't have 2 pulling movements in a row. It'll be row, chest press, pull down or something like that, or pull down, chest press, row.
Got it.
And then I would throw the dip in. So then I have pull, push
Yeah.
type of a.
Why would you start off with these midsection machines? What's significant about adding those before all those others? because you didn't have those body parts or focus or single joint anyway.
Yeah, and it wasn't single joint versus compound as much as it just, if you just look at, can you work the whole entire body in 3 exercises? The answer is yes. So, as little as a squat, a deadlift, and a dip, or a squat, a chin up, and a dip will work the whole entire body. You got the whole job done in 3 exercises. And I've done routines like that. They're great high intensity workouts. Arthur has written about them. Ellington Dark has written. Mike Mentzer has written about them. How many exercises does it take to work the whole body? So then at some point, you just want to duplicate, right? So for me, the low back is just a thing for me. I love starting off with the low back. It really sells. It really makes a lot of money for me. The clients love it. It's what I call a warm-up exercise, and I think everybody needs it. So low back, leg press, pull down, chest press. I cover the whole body, and I have my specialty kind of exercise in the beginning. Now I'm just duplicating. So, a core exercise, a pull, a push, a leg. That's it.
But I'm just, what I don't fully understand there, but why abdominal rotary torso next? Is it because, look, we know clients want that kind of midsection stimulus. They want to feel like they're doing something productive there in terms of like maybe burning away body fat, although they're not, right? But giving that feeling that they've exercised their midsection. Is that had anything to do with this thought process?
100%. So every client's going to tell you they want to lose a few pounds. They want to feel better. But on top of that, how many of your clients play golf, male and female?
Right.
Quite a lot.
Yeah.
At least my New York clients. Everybody was either a rather good golfer or a golfer wannabe. But the rotary torso, hey, this is going to add 10 yards to your drive. Oh, sign me up. I want to do this. Having that core strength is everything in the golf program. Having no back pain whatsoever is going to be good for any sport you're playing or any activity. So yeah, I went with the course. Now I have low back, abdominal, and rotary torso in the program, and it's going to address the client's wants and needs.
Right. Okay. And next you go on to saying so we've touched on the exercise routine you like the most. Do you want to say any more on that? The complete 6? Or have you already mentioned
The
that?
complete 6 that I really worked off of for many, many years is low back, leg press, abdominal, rotary torso, pull down, and dip. That's a core program for me that I would not change for 10, 15 or more years straight. So that's a core program. I would throw in a 7th, that's a 6 exercise program. I would throw in a 7th and or 8th exercise. I would rotate it through. The exercises I would put in would be something like an abduction, and I would put that in right after the low back. So it'd be low back abduction, leg press. Or I would do a row. I love the row. And again, it would never be 2 pull or 2 push exercises in a row. So I would always do push, pull, something like that. But row is for posture. And many, many clients needed better posture. Many, if not most, if not all. So, we're all sitting at our desk these days. We're working on a computer. To get the shoulders back is just a big deal. The row is just a great exercise for that. Neck, that was a huge exercise for me. I purchased a MedX neck machine, and I never really used the 4-way neck. Neck extension was my primary exercise. I did a little bit of a stretch at the end of the set, which the clients love. And I teach that. I did kind of side, and I never did neck flexion. But again, for posture and sitting up straight and working the whole spine from top to bottom. But it was a basic 6 exercise that I worked off quite a lot.
It's almost like you've got a pretty good franchise concept there, right? We know models that are kind of like either end, but this is like in the middle of them, right? 6 to 8 exercises, 12-minute sessions, covering all the musculature. Like it's really, I really love this. And I think that a lot of listeners who are just getting started, some of them could, because it's a little bit more money, right? They're probably looking more, like 5 to 10,000 to get the 6 to 8, right? If you're going to do it with all these machines. Yeah. But that's viable for a lot. I'm just thinking like, if people want to go this route, they could, right?
Sure.
Right.
Absolutely.
But the minimal startup you've already talked about, this is like level 2 if you've got the budget.
Well, if you're making your financial goals and you're doing the sessions per week that you were after, then this is just the logical next step. You're
Oh, I
kicking out a
see.
little money to
Yeah.
add these machines in. So you're working up to this program.
Oh, he's like upgrading. Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. So where are we at now? We're on to working training order, right? So like starting with lower body, finish with upper body. That was your
I
way.
always work in this order. The order that I just gave you for my basic 6, which is low back leg press, abdominal, rotary torso, pull and a push for upper body. I always worked in this order from low to high. I've only found recently in the last 10 years that there's a lot of trainers that don't work in this order.
That's right. We did. Yeah.
And actually I even got some people criticize me for this, but,
Really?
yeah, yeah,
Well, tell me more.
that's the wrong order.
The wrong order, Pete.
Yeah, I
Is there
actually have
scientific evidence to suggest that you have to have the leg press at the end? Is there?
you know what? There are some people that were very, very locked in on that. They, no, you can't
Yeah.
work the legs until the last exercise. I said, well, I got my information from somebody that I think everybody respects, and that'd be Arthur Jones.
Mm.
So that's how I started working in this order. He wanted to get these massive exercises out of the way early. It's, if you're really wiped out, it's probably pretty easy to do a curl or you can get through that versus you're really wiped out. Now you got to do a 500-pound leg press. That just made sense to me. So this comes from Arthur, period, end of story. This is how he trained Casey and Mike and Boyer and Sergio. They all got this low to high order. You were going to start with the big exercises. Now I put lower back in first because that's kind of like a pet peeve kind of an exercise for me. And remember, I'm addressing clients' needs, not athletes' needs. So that's why I made my tweak. But yeah, low to high comes from Arthur.
Can we just discuss this for a moment? And we're definitely going to have to do 2 podcasts, Pete, because there's so much I want to talk about in terms of our notes. I find this really interesting because someone could correct me on this, but one of the kind of rationale for maybe not having leg press at the very end is that it's the last thing the person remembers or associates with your workout. And if it's the most brutal, most uncomfortable, which that or leg extension or anything that's going to really recruit the quadriceps, usually the most uncomfortable exercise, right? Or one of, that might not be a good thing if they associate that as the last thing they remember of your workout. So I remember some colleagues, and I could be getting some of this wrong because I'm trying to remember, but I think they almost position leg press like you do, like middle of the workout or maybe like the penultimate exercise, not the final one for this reason. The other side of it is, and this is frankly, we used to finish quite a lot on the leg press and occasionally we didn't. I'm trying to remember now. But a lot of the time we did. And now I'm thinking that might not have been the best idea. And the idea was that it served as like a finisher, right? And in my own personal workouts, I'll always have it towards the end. But now after this, and that's partly out of dread, right? None of us want to train our legs really hard. It's really hard. It's really difficult. It's uncomfortable. So my own workouts I've always had at the end. But actually, I might even start experimenting myself with having it more at the start. Anyway, so and the other thing as well is in terms of my own workouts, and maybe others can relate to this. Although again, I don't think there's research to support this. Most of us men care about bigger chests and bigger arms, right? And so for that reason, we're like, no, we want all that energy, motivation, everything to be like maximized for those first 3 exercises. And those first 3 exercises therefore have to be chin-ups, chest press, bicep curls. And it's like, well, actually, and I remember Luke saying this, they perform thousands of workouts to discover strength where I believe they've started a lot of the time with, lower body or leg press early on. And they don't see a degradation in performance in those upper body exercises at the end, so that's interesting. And I think there are some exceptions to that, but overall, I don't think there's a huge sort of knock-on effect. So anyway, that's just my 2 cents and some thoughts I had about positioning the leg press. So what have you got any thoughts on that? Like any your 2 cents on what I just said? Or I know I just went off on one there for a bit.
Not much. There's much to be said about this. So first of all, I don't think Arthur Jones knew this, and this is not why he did it, but this is a very marketable approach working in this order. Um, and that's not what he was after. And then and to your point of the guys want bigger arms and chests, I don't think you're going to get a whole lot bigger than Casey Viator. His arms are pretty darn impressive, but he got his squats out of the way first and then did the bicep and the chin up superset, at the end. So it worked for big arms and big chest. That's another point. But let me address my favorite subject, which is money. I wanted to be successful at this, financially successful at this. This is a marketable approach. None of my clients, whether they were out of shape and didn't want to exercise, but knew they had to, or if they were pretty athletic and needed a good push, neither one of those clients wanted to walk out of the gym after a leg press, and put them in that ground. We had to get through that in the beginning and get past it and then work on things and leave them like very often. My last exercise was neck, which is not difficult and it feels great. And I do a stretch at the end. Oh, Pete, that's wonderful. Thank you so much. And that's how they're leaving the session, which
I love that.
looking
Can you elaborate on that stretch? And while you do, I'm just going to turn the heater off in this room, but just elaborate on what you mean by the stretch.
So you're doing a neck extension on the MedX machine. You have a nice set of handles and up behind, and you're just doing neck extension. On the last rep, I'd have them go to step the weight down, so the head would come forward, the stack would barely touch, and I would put my hands, my palms, my hands on their shoulders, and I'd say, just take a deep breath in through the nose, out through the mouth, and on your exhale, I'm going to push on your shoulders a little bit, and that would make the head just kind of push back or the shoulders push back and your head would stretch down a little bit. And you get this little bit of a neck stretch. It's not much. It's not designed to be strenuous in any way. And clients absolutely loved it. And I'd make them take one more deep cleansing breath. And then I would back off and release and ask them to exit the machine. And oh my God, Pete, that was wonderful. I really needed that, because remember, they're clients, and clients, most all of them carry their stress up in their neck. They're in front of their computer. They're having meetings. They're whatever they're doing, but they're stressing themselves. And that's where they're developing their headaches.
But you didn't do flexion. You never did neck flexion because of face.
Never did side neck, never did neck flexion.
You know what? Something that maybe is obvious, but would you think it's fair to say that you would sometimes trade optimal workout for the workout that is going to give the best customer service? Maybe this is obvious, and keep the client coming back. There was sort of a little trade-off there, because I know some of our more committed, for want of a better word, colleagues might be like, no, it's all about the optimal workout. Like the client has to accept that this is how it's going to be. I'm not going to dilute my workout in any way for better customer service, whatever that means. Do you see what I'm getting at? Do you think you made trade-offs there, right? Like I feel like you were very deliberate about that, because, and I don't think it's completely self-serving in terms of, making money. I think in part it's also about adherence, keeping the client coming back.
It's 100% about keeping the clients coming back. I mean, anybody can get a client in the door. Will they sign up again next month? Will they sign up for the next 20 years? That's the skill. That's the art form. And then the people that are dogmatic that I talk to, they're also broke or out of business, or they're in desperate need of sessions, and they can't see, the forest through the trees. It's just ridiculous. You got to address the client's wants and needs. And I'm always, always, always selling a session. I'm selling a session during a session. And if you're not selling your next session during the session, you're just not doing it. So, you're going to watch business just trickle down slowly, and you're going to come up, gee, I don't know why. It must be the economy. No, it's not the economy. It's your sales skills. They're not good. You have to sell. So yeah, finish off with something that makes them thank you or wow you, or, oh, Pete, that was so great. Thank you so much. I can't wait to come back in and do that again. Nobody ever said, hey, I can't wait to come in and wobble after the leg press and, like the room starts spinning and I can't sit for a week. Nobody said that, but everybody said, oh, that neck exercise was wonderful. Thank you so much. That meant so much to me. Or, you know, uh, I got a really good response from the MedX dip machine. That was like one of my favorite exercises. And that was near the end of my routine. Boy, that really felt great. I don't know why, but people liked it and I did it. So
Yeah,
you have to finish off with things that people like and want.
that's such good advice. And, do you want to go? We don't have to go through Casey Viator's workout completely. We can if you like. What do you want to do now? Or we can, I like your rationale around dips over chest press or shoulder press. But we can go through Casey's routine. It's up to you.
All right, we don't have to go through. I'll just reference the workout. So
Sure.
if you want to look it up, it's the workout that Arthur Jones gave to Casey Viator, June 10th, 1971. So if you just Google June 10, 1971 Casey Viator workout, this is an article that's written by Ellington Darden. And Dr. Darden, he was witnessing this workout, and I want to talk to him in person about this one day. And since he's a friend, I hope I
Besties.
get an opportunity, right? Besties. But this workout made a big impression on me. It is my all-time favorite workout to read about and study and really look into. It shaped my business. Now, I am not in any way trying to duplicate or deliver this workout with a client, but there's information there that's valuable. I'm only going to give you one bit of information that's valuable. So this was a 15 exercise workout, including a 750-pound leg press and a 500-pound barbell squat. I won't tell you about the rest of the sets, but they were comparable. But in this 15 set workout, it was completed in under 30 minutes. That told me something about business. That created the two words that meant the most to me, which were time efficient. And that is my product. I want to address the client's needs in a time efficient manner. If I save them time and accomplish the same amount of work or results that they want elsewhere, I'm going to sell more. So that's the ultimate message, was time efficient. That's what I got out of this. And just how impressive the routine was. But I think the total, I'll give you the exact total. The workout took 28 minutes and 40 seconds. That was important information for me. It shaped my
When you learned that, was that the moment where you were like, did that predate you delivering high intensity strength training workouts?
It did. It did. I read about this.
Well, obviously it did predate. That's a
Yeah.
stupid question. But what I mean is, was it like, I'm just visualizing, like you read that in a magazine or whatever, and then you were like, light bulb, like, let's go do this. Was it like that? Kind of? No?
Yeah, it was definitely one of the light bulb moments. And interestingly enough, all of my light bulb moments came from Ellington Darden. Because
But
even
you
though
would
this
say that
article
because he
doesn't-
watches these sometimes, doesn't he?
okay, you know what? How privileged your way. But
I have no idea if he does, by the way.
but he's definitely a hero. He's a direct descendant of Arthur Jones. He's the one that's written the most about any of Arthur's work. But yeah, all my light bulb moments came from Ellington. He wrote about this workout and the time efficient thing came up and like, oh, God, this doesn't have to be done in an hour. We can get this done in minimal time and book more sessions. Okay, that's great. And then, another light bulb moment for me was when he wrote about negative only work. That was huge. And the customer service aspect. So yeah, all of my success directly relates to Arthur Jones. It all goes back to, Ellington Darden. It all goes back to Ellington.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about the rationale for the dip over the chest press or shoulder press occasionally?
The MedX dip machine, not a dip exercise, not jumping up
Sorry.
on a parallel dip bars, because I've made that mistake in not being clear about that. Because I actually have overstretched my shoulders doing dips with weights strapped to me. And I knew a client, there's just no way you're putting a client up on a set of dip bars. But the MedX dip machine specifically or Imagine Strength now makes one that's comparable. And I'm pretty sure you can get a Nautilus Nitro dip machine that'll work just as well. But a dip machine is, for me, worked better than a chest press and a shoulder press. Why? I found clients early on, and my wife is one of these people. She has shoulder pain when she does the chest press machine, even whether it's a MedX, Imagine Strength, any good quality chest press machine doesn't sit well with her. But I can put her on the dip machine so she can get a pushing exercise in. If she can't do the chest press machine, a shoulder press machine is probably out also. I'm not even going to attempt it.
Is that just because of the humerus abducting, like on a MedX chest press as you come in? This like that can irritate the shoulder. Whereas the dip, you're like pushing downwards. You're not converging. It's just you're just pushing down, aren't you? So that makes sense that it would be less sort of problematic with the shoulder. So yeah,
I'll go with that without knowing the actual answer. I really don't know why. I would just take the client at face value. If they said, this causes me pain, or we did this last week, and for about 3 days afterwards, I couldn't raise my arm, but I don't want to do this again. You know what? I don't argue with a client. I don't want to, well, you need to do this and you need to, you need to get better at it. You need to get stronger. Let's go find an exercise that will work for you. That'll work 1/3 of your body.
Yeah.
We need a pushing exercise. Let's see if we can find one. That's my response. Guess what? That sells. That says he heard me and he wants to find a solution that works for me. Not we got to do it this way because, I read somewhere, it's just, that's not going to sell. So
I think you just gave a real life example. What's really interesting is, it's not a bad thing to be really obsessed with the training and the protocols and all the science, right? We talk all about that on this channel as well. But I just hope people can see what happened there. You've said it yourself, Pete. You never classified yourself as the greatest personal trainer, or if I might say, like the most knowledgeable exercise physiologist out there, right? But yeah, you were able to build a really successful strength training business. So I kind of just want to take a moment here to say, if you are a personal trainer and you've gone through like HIT uni or, and you're getting your reps in now working with clients, there's always going to be more to learn. And if you're ravenous to continue learning about the science application of training, that's amazing. But rest assured, you can build a very successful business and you don't have to be Dr. Doug McGuff. You don't have to be super knowledgeable, right? And I just think you conveyed that quite clearly there. And so I just want, because I know there's a lot of people out there feel they need to do more certifications or do whatever in order to be able to grow their business. When actually, when you're at a certain level, so long as you're, more of an expert than the client in front of you, if you're delivering a great workout experience, a great service that's helping them get stronger without pain, you're doing what you need to do.
Customer service is by far the most important thing to me in my business. Addressing the client's wants and needs are everything. If you don't do that, you will not have a business. The trainers that can speak knowledgeably about the leg press for an hour, book no sessions. I could talk about the leg press for about 10 seconds. I am not the smartest trainer. I am not the best trainer. I am not the most technical trainer. I'm the most booked.
Is it like, so you put your feet on that plate and then you push it out?
Yeah, I think they just really, people overthink this. And my thing was sit down, shut up, push, get out. It's like,
I'm being facetious and trying to attempt to be fun.
That's really the way I handled a lot of people. They needed to be pushed through things, not they didn't want to be educated on it.
Yeah,
people don't want to be taught.
Right.
They want to be served.
Yeah, good distinction. Where were we? All right. So what are we talking about now? Most successful protocol you recommend? 2-4?
Yeah. Basic Nautilus protocol 2-4. The most successful protocol that every trainer should know and be proficient at is the basic Nautilus 2-4 protocol. And I don't want them to overthink this. If you don't have this down, you probably can't do a lot of other things very well. So let me just dig into this just a little bit. So it's really not a true 2-second positive with followed by a 4-second negative. Arthur Jones simply said, control the weight, plain and simple. And then his recommendation was 8 to 12 reps to failure. Now, obviously, if you're on rep number 13 with no signs of slowing down, you got to keep going until you reach momentary muscular failure or until the weight becomes challenging and you get a stimulus going there. But his general guidelines and his basic protocol, I think, is the cornerstone of our business. So, controlling the weight, 8 to 12 reps to failure. And then what you can do with this protocol is just the variety is just never ending. You can extend the set with assisted reps or forced reps, rest, pause, negatives, breakdowns, any of these things. And that's where the variety is. So it's not, for me, it was never about the exercise order. I could do the same 6 machines for 20 years and the clients will not get bored. Where it becomes interesting is at the end of the set. Once they start to get challenged, what's going to happen now? Hey, set the weight down. I'm going to drop the pin. Okay, now you can get a few more. And I'm going to help you with it. And I'm going to push on this. And I'm going to that's where it becomes exciting at the end of the set, not the exercise order. Trying to make them stand on a Bosu ball and do bicep curls is not entertaining. You're not trying to entertain the client. You want to stimulate and get them out. So this basic protocol, I think, is the cornerstone of our business. And I think people should really just take this seriously before they go on to more advanced stuff.
Got it. And what is the next level?
For me, the next step was Ellington Darden's work. So he is just so focused on negatives. Negatives are, really the focus of his work. He's studied this for 50 years or more. Starting with Arthur. Arthur obviously built machines, negative only machines, which are fascinating. But Ellington took this to the next level and really, really studied this. So a 1 rep exercise, 1 rep chin, a 1 rep dip, a 1 rep leg press, emphasizing the negative or a negative only. That would be next level for me. And that's what was next level for me. I would do my Nautilus 2-4 protocol to failure and then really take the set to the limit, depending on my client's wants and needs at that time. And then after that, hey, come on in. We're not even going to lift a weight today. We're just going to lower weights today. And you're only going to do 1 rep on each exercise. Wow, that was next level. But you have to be able to deliver that. So I think you have to be proficient at the basic protocol first before you get into the negative only stuff. But that was next level for me. And I really, really liked that. And my clients responded amazingly with that kind of stuff. So I was doing a lot of that for a long time. Chronodynametrics was something I put together. It's called time. The Chronodynametrics translates to time strength measurement. When I was doing Ellington Darden's negative only protocols, I needed to refine it a little bit more. I needed to define it a little bit more because business was really escalating. So clients are coming in the door and I needed to be more focused and more organized. That was really the focus of my business at that time. If I wasn't focused and organized better, business was going to take a downturn. It wouldn't escalate anymore. So I sat down and really tried to map this out. So Chronodynametrics I have 2 versions of it. There's Chronodynametrics, or CDM, I would refer to it as CDM limited or CDM measured. CDM limited was I would give you a 90-second time frame and we would get as much work as we could get done in that time frame. What that did for me and my business was I knew exactly how much time I was going to spend with the client. So if it was 8 exercises, it's 12 minutes of work. I knew I can get that done in a 15-minute time frame. That's important information for me and my business, not for the client. Now, that's one version. The other version was CDM measured. CDM measured was you're just going to time the set in seconds. This set can go on for 2 minutes or more, 120, 130, 140 seconds before you add weight or before you reach failure. And then I'm just charting, but in a workout like that, I'm going to give fewer exercises. So again, I'm really trying to get a gauge on how much time I need to spend with a client and what if they walked in the door 5 minutes late. So that's why I came up with this program. It was 100% for business reasons. Is it better than Ellington Darden's negative only? No. Is it better than Arthur Jones' Nautilus 2-4 protocol? Absolutely not. But it's a better way to organize your business if you're doing 100 sessions or more a week. So
And
that's
I assume you never shared these terms with your clients because what do they care? Right? Or did you? Would you
so
say Chronodynametrics to them, or would you go into any of this detail, or how much detail if you did?
no, no, I never promoted it, never talked about it. Um, no,
You just said, here's what we're doing today, and you might high level it.
yeah,
Yeah.
sorry about boomer screening.
I can
Um,
hear.
yeah,
That's Pete's bird. It's massive and a gigantic box next to his desk.
he's been with me for 30 years, so he's a member of the family. Um, no, and people didn't need to know. I never would discuss the Nautilus 2-4 protocol with them. I never discussed protocols, speeds, nothing technical with a client. Why? They don't care. They just want the results. They want to leave, and that's it. They want to get what they paid for. Do not bore them with anything. And I would say,
Yeah.
this is going to work well for you. And that was the extent of my explanation. I would always ask for their feedback. Did you like this? Did you feel this? On a scale of 1 to 5, was this very, very difficult? Was it too difficult? Was it what you were looking for? Those are the questions and information that we would go over. Nothing more than that.
Cool. Do you want to talk about SuperSlow?
SuperSlow. SuperSlow is something I looked into early on in my career. Went down to meet Ken Hutchins and go through a certification program. I couldn't wrap my head around it. 10 seconds forward, 10 seconds back to failure. I had a lot of problems with it. It wasn't marketable for me. I couldn't sell it. I couldn't teach it effectively. And I really had a hard time. To make SuperSlow effective, you had to really reduce the weights. I like the more aggressive approach. I like the Arthur Jones approach. Arthur really made an impact on me. Arthur was no nonsense. He wanted you to work hard. I like the way he simplified things. That's something that just really resonated with me. So with Arthur, it was just, you need to control the weight. That's it. Period. End of story. Is there an exact speed to that? No, just control the weight and you won't get injured. Um, People are really overthinking this safety factor. Like, you really have to go 10 seconds or slower or you're going to get injured. No, you're not. Arthur never got anybody injured. Ellington Darden never got anybody injured. I did 150,000 sessions, never got anybody injured. My reps are a lot faster. I mean, I'm as fast as humanly possible during my sets. But here's the thing. If you look at a Mike Mentzer protocol, so Mike Mentzer's rep range is 4 to 6. He was 4 to 6 or 1 to 3. If you're using a weight for 4 to 6 reps to failure, and you're pushing as fast as you possibly can under load, it's not going to move very fast. You can't move a weight quickly that's 4 to 6 reps to failure. You just can't. It's going to be a 2 to 4 second positive and negative. And it's going to get slower as you go, even though you're trying to increase your speed. So I like the aggressive approach. And you know what? The clients like the aggressive approach. The customer service that goes along with that. Come on, you can push it faster. Try to push it faster. And it's not going faster. Come on, speed up, speed up, speed up. Like the cheering on, the encouragement that comes with that. That's exciting. That's fun. It's interesting. It sells. Everybody wants it. Not, like the whole slow down thing. That I don't know, it just didn't work for me. So, and the safety thing, I just don't think that's anything to discuss. I never had a problem with it.
I get it. I get it. I think we should save the last bit of this for a separate podcast because I actually think there's a lot we could talk about there and I'm really interested. So stay tuned, guys, for another podcast with Pete on all things TRT, HRT, which is just to give you a hint. and lots of other things that you don't like other high intensity training business owners doing that gets under your skin, as you wrote here. So excited to get into that in a podcast. Pete, awesome. This is so useful, very tactical today, I think, very useful to people. If you want to work with Pete, please go to school.com/HIB and join. You'll get access to free courses, calls, community resources to help you grow your strength training business. We made this for you guys. And once you get in there, you can jump on a call with myself or Pete, and we can talk about your needs and see if Pete would be a good fit for you. Pete, thank you so much. This is so fun as always. Any parting thoughts?
No, it's always a pleasure. Thank you so much, Lawrence. This was fun.
Cool. And thanks very much for listening, and we'll be back soon.